Mind over matter, I gotta keep going. Can't slow down, I gotta keep rolling. Optimism over doubt, got no time to be hopeless. A lot of people run their mouth trying to knock off my focus. Maybe cause they know that I'm one of the dopest. Maybe cause they know what I want, I'ma go get. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Mental Fitness Hub. I'm Coach Chris. That guy in the Wildcats shirt is G. And we are back with a special episode of the Mental Fitness Hub podcast. Those of you who don't know, the Mental Fitness Hub podcast was created to raise awareness of the psychological factors that influence performance in sport and outside of sport. Okay. And today, our special guest knows all about that. Okay. He was a 4-year starting point guard for the Kansas State men's basketball team. He helped lead the team to an incredible Elite Eight run in the 2017-2018 season in his junior year. The following year, which was his senior year, he helped lead them to the Big 12 championship. During his time at K-State, he averaged 10.5 points, 3.5 assists, and shot 35% from behind the arc. Since his playing days concluded at K-State, he's been playing professional basketball overseas and currently plays for the Delamode in Lithuania. He's quick, he's shifty, he's a dimer, a sniper on the court, and he is joining us today, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome Kamau Stokes.
I appreciate it, Chris. Appreciate it for having me, Grant, too.
Yes, man. Thank you for joining us. Again, this man is coming from practice, right?
Yeah.
Coming straight from practice. It's nighttime over there in Lithuania. It's 12:20 in the afternoon here in Kansas City. So again, man, we just thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk to us for a few minutes.
And yeah, man, we really appreciate it. And
yeah.
just so you know, you're like our first guest for this podcast. So you're helping us trying to pioneer this podcast into the more eyeballs. And I know Kansas State fans that follow me on Twitter and whatnot are gonna be so happy to hear from you and see what's going on in Kam Stokes' life now.
They're gonna love it. They're gonna love it so much, man. So we want to stay on K-State for a minute. Both of y'all are repping today. Obviously, I'm a Wildcat too. Graduated from K-State like these gentlemen here. So let's get into K-State, man. Would you mind, talking about what your time was like at Kansas State and in Manhattan as a 4-year starter?
Yeah. So I had never heard of Manhattan, Kansas, right? Coming from like being an inner city Baltimore kid, I had no idea. The only thing we knew about Kansas was like Wizard of Oz or something like that. That was pretty much it. And then of course KU, but we don't talk about them.
Nah.
Sticky subject. But nah, man, I had the opportunity to go right after prep school. Basically, like my big brother now, Coach Chester Frazier, also from Baltimore. We had the same high school coach, so that was the connection. That was a real connection there when he came to see me in prep school. And then I went to a game. I think they played Iowa State on my visit. They won that game, and I just fell in love with the atmosphere, man. The fans was great. Coach Weber was great, so that's why I decided to go. And I knew I was going to start as a freshman, which was a big thing for me because I wanted to prove that I could do it. Big 12 is still and was the best conference in basketball, I think, and toughest conference in basketball. So that's why I wanted to play.
Yeah, man. What was it like? I mean, you just mentioned a couple of the names. Bruce Weber, Chester Frazier, who went out there and recruited you a bunch. Yeah. And I also, want to shout out Chris Lowry and Brad Korn.
For sure.
What was their impact for you in your playing career as a K-Stater? And do you ever think back on some of what they taught you at K-State and use it in your professional career?
Oh man, I know for Coach Frazier, it was kind of like for him it was more of a big brother role. Given we were from the same place, he always made sure I was good. Shout out to him and his family, Sarah and the kids, because they always looked out for me no matter what. So that was my family away from home. And then Coach Lowry, same thing. We used to go over his house all the time. Miss Lowry used to cook, so it was a real family dynamic. BK wasn't there when I first got there. It was AB, and he ended up going to Baylor, of course. But when BK got there, that's when I felt like it was a fun dynamic to it. We always played one-on-one before practice. Always had shooting contests and stuff like that. Somebody to talk trash with, uh, And other than that, man, the coaching staff. When you're dealing with college basketball players and young men, the coaching staff has to be understanding of both off the court issues and on the court issues. And I feel like they did a very good job with that and having an equal balance of when to be a coach and when to be more of a role model. So I feel like they did a real good job with that.
Wow, yeah. I'm glad that you hit on those points there. G, is there anything that you wanted to follow up with him about related to the question that you just asked him?
Oh, I think that was great. Unless you want to add like what's the difference in coaching styles, overseas professional basketball compared to that college, as they're mentoring young men, like you said, in college, and did do some of those, things that they showed you in college. Do you use that in practice every day overseas and try to focus on, ways to get better and ways to produce?
Yeah. Like you said, different areas of it. I feel like our K-State team, we used to have a lot of pride and toughness. Coming overseas, you got to be tough. I feel like overseas basketball is more physical. So that's the level of toughness. You got to fight through adversity, fight through things. You're not going to always be in a country where everybody speaks English. So that's a different aspect of it too. Just learning the culture and, having different coaches in college helps you with that because every coach isn't the same, right? So even when you go overseas or what have you, if you're on a 1-year contract every year, you're gonna have a different coach every year. You have a different assistant coach every year. So just changes like that really help because you know how to connect with certain coaches in different ways, and you can really see some of players' coaches. Some just want to keep it basketball, and then some are off the court as well. And it's the same with college. Of course, they're closer and with us on a day-to-day basis for 4 years, so it's a little more. You have a little more better relationship, I would say, with your college coaches. But as far as the whole dynamic of coaching styles, every coach is different. Same thing in college. The assistant coach is different than the head coach. You know what I'm saying? So you get used to different coaching styles, and that helps you. It helps you to adapt faster.
Okay, and I know you just alluded to it earlier, but I wanted to stay on the coaching staff at K-State for a second before we move on. I want to know, like, when as it relates to the mentality, like you said, you all prided yourselves on having that mental toughness, right? I wonder how exactly did that coaching staff contribute to the mindset you have currently and how you go about your business playing professionally overseas?
Well, I'm gonna start with Coach Weber. Coach Weber was real tough on us. He was real tough on me, especially. But like I said, we came in as freshmen, and we had to rebuild a program, so they had to be tough on us. And coming in as a freshman, where in high school you have that level, you have that coach that's tough on you, but it's different coming from you being in college on a big stage, and it's like, man, like coach really on my back today, and you don't even feel like you're doing a whole lot wrong, but that's his job because he got to prepare you for the season, right? So for Coach Weber, I know he always talked to us about having a plan after college. That was a big thing for him. Still to this day, he checks in on me and seeing how things going, and he want me to have a plan after my professional career. So he stays on top of us about that. Coach Frazier, he's currently back at Illinois where he went. And for him, like I said, it was a different relationship that I had with him than other players because we're from the same place. He know my family real well. I know his family real well. So for him, it was a big brother toughness. Like I don't know if y'all have older siblings, but you know that feeling because it's like like he'll put his hands on me on type like if I'm not doing what I'm supposed to, he can handle that situation. You know what I'm saying? So, CeeLo man used to get in our butts like for real, like he used to try to break you, but I mean you doing what you're supposed to do, then he rock with you. Like he already know that we was good enough to play at that level. But in order for us to stay locked in, it was one of those things where, CeeLo cuts you out like all day. But that was his tough love. You know what I'm saying? That was his tough love of wanting his players to be better. Same with BK. BK was more of I would say a skill guy for us. You know what I'm saying? As far as making sure our skill set was right, whether it was shooting. Like I said, we played one-on-one before every practice. So, you know what I'm saying? As a basketball player playing one-on-one is a big thing because you just figure out ways how to score.
Right.
And BK is 6'7", 6'8" shooter. So it's like
tough.
I gotta learn how to defend that and score. So I use that now to where I'm playing against overseas guys. I'm guarding 6'8", 6'7s. I gotta learn how to stop that. I gotta learn how to score in them. So things like that, and it's just a different dynamic with every coach.
Wow.
You mentioned Alvin Brooks too. I know I know he was just there for that first year, right? Just your freshman year. What was his impact like? In that short time with him.
Coach Brooks, same thing, man. But I felt like when Coach Brooks was there, he was more of that positive voice for us. You know what I'm saying? Always encouraging us. Like I said, it would be tough. It would be days where we just get cussed out the whole practice. And Coach Brooks would like come over and he'd be like, just keep your head up, like keep going. You know what I'm saying? Don't stop. Don't let it get to you. And having us always mentally positive in a positive space.
So bringing in Brad Korn was kind of a good replacement for Alvin Brooks because it kept that someone that had that more laid back vibe. Those other three. Sure. I hear that.
What's that? Okay. So moving on, I know before we started recording, you kind of talked about it a little bit, battling injuries, and we know that you were doing you had your fair share of injuries that you dealt with at K-State. So I wanted you to kind of explain what kind of injuries you had at K-State. And we also know that you went through a knee surgery your freshman year, which I'm sure you'll probably talk about. What was that like just as a young college player that was producing at a high level, but was just battling these injuries, here and there?
Well, number one, I never had any serious injury throughout my childhood or nothing like that. So coming into K-State where everybody has a goal coming into college, right? You want to be a one and done, or you want a 2-year, 3-year, what have you. It's because you're capable of doing it, right? So when you come in as a freshman, you're starting and you're doing well for your team is producing, and then all of a sudden you had this injury, this knee injury. Don't know why, you know what I'm saying? And no contact, just a freak accident, right? Just a freak accident. So that I feel like that was tough for me because number one, we were on the verge of making NCAA tournament my freshman year, and being hurt, you feel like, man, like if I wasn't hurt, I could help my team more, and we could probably get there. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that was the biggest thing for me. But like I said, I had a foundation around me with my family and everything to help me on the mental side of things. Because having an injury as an athlete can be mentally like tough, like really, really tough. I can't even think of a word for it to explain it. because, like I said, every athlete has a goal, and an injury sets that goal back. If not back, it's just a pause for a short period of time, and it's tough because you can't do what you love to do, right? So I come back strong. Sophomore year, no injury, like no injury sophomore year. Put my name in the draft sophomore year, just to test the water, see where everything was going. And I was like, all right, cool, we're gonna give it another year then. I'll see what it's like. You know what I'm saying? I had a really good sophomore year. Junior year, we're gonna come out and we're gonna go at it. And I think I started off my junior year really, really well. I was shooting, I think I was shooting close to 50% from three and 40 something from two and like 80 from the free throw line. Like I had those stats to where on a draft board, that goes a long way, right?
Right.
And then what was it, third? It's crazy because you never forget injuries, right? I think third game of Big 12 at Texas Tech. I jumped up for a ball, came down, rolled my foot, came to the sideline, like, bro, my foot hurt, like real bad. Took me to the hospital, had a broke my foot, Jones fracture on the left side. Had to get surgery for that. Had to get a screw put in my foot. But the competitor in me, I came back in 3.5 weeks. I was playing with a broken foot, right? I was playing with a broken foot in 3.5 weeks, which, I mean, I look back now, probably wasn't smart, but I did it, right? I did it. Can't take it back. I don't regret it at all because I was able to help my team and we make the Elite Eight run, right?
Right.
And then, mind you, in that Elite Eight run, we lose Dean.
Yeah.
We lose Dean, which sucked, right? So, I mean, if we had Dean, we national championship.
Yeah.
National championship. We had Dean. Like, no question. I don't think it's a question about it.
Right.
But that year wasn't so tough for me because I was able to come back and play. If I was out the whole year, I don't know how tough it would have been for me, right? So senior year comeback, foot still wasn't quite healthy, but it was better. It was enough, right?
Right.
It was enough to where I could play and perform at a high level. That year, our team was like real special. I think we beat every team in the Big 12 in a row that year, and it was just one of those things where it was like, oh, we knew we was gonna win the Big 12 championship that year. Tournament wise, of course, we lost first game. That was just one of them things that just happens. But as far as the injuries go, man, it was tough. It was tough. And then I go from my first year out of college, had a real good first year, and then COVID hit halfway through the year, so that was cut short. Second year, win a championship in Sweden. Third year, go to Hungary, losing the championship. Last year, tear my ACL in a high level league, right? Champions League, high level league. Tear my ACL first Champions League game. That sucked for me because I felt like that injury was worse for me because of how my career was progressing, right? So overseas winning is a big thing. I'm coming off of 2 championships.
Yeah.
Right? I'm coming off 2 championships. I'm in the big league. We probably won't win our league championship. And I'm playing in another league on top of that, which is even bigger. So I feel like that injury last year hurt worse than any other injury because of the level of how I was progressing at that, like what rate I was progressing in my career. Like everything was just going fast. Then it's like just shut down, right?
And then you decide you came back to Manhattan, and we were going to ask you about that a little later about your time there. But I promise you we're gonna come back to that subject. G, did you want to get in here and ask?
Well, I mean, I think he was finishing up. What were you about to say? How did you finish up with that injury? Like, how did you persevere?
It was just shut down. Like I said, everything was shut down. Like Chris said, I decided, hey, I need to go somewhere where I'm gonna still be around basketball, right? And this is why I love K-State, because we had a relationship to where you can go back, have your injury taken care of, still be around basketball. And I thank Coach Tang for that. Really, I do, because he's a new coach there. He didn't have to allow me to be back. You know what I'm saying? But I talked to some guys that was already there, and he allowed me to be a part of that. And it was that felt real good to me. That's really why I love K-State.
Yeah.
And I think we definitely gotta talk more about that in a bit. Once we talk more about your pro career, I do want to ask just a few more things about your college career. You mentioned, Dean's injury, and did that him, and he dealt with injuries too his senior year, obviously, that kept him out of the tournament, which really, I know, hurt that team. Exactly. Yeah, on the reverse dunk, wasn't it? Yeah. I mean,
my pass.
Bittersweet. But you guys got to raise a banner and all that. But what was it like? I mean, he's going through these injuries too. Did that help too, kind of being able to have other guys around you that were dealing with injuries as well, and you could talk to them? And I'm sure it's a brotherhood in overseas as well, but I can't imagine it compares to that brotherhood in college.
Yeah, I mean, in college is, like you said, it's different. We came in as freshmen, so we already have a stronger bond. And I remember that, like, Luke, our trainer there, he used to joke with us because, like, every time Dean was hurt, I was hurt. Like, our feet were just not having it. Like, I don't know what was wrong. When he was in the boot, I was in the boot, and it was just one of those things where it's like, dang, like, what, y'all just want to be hurt together? And like, they used to joke about it, but having somebody there when you going through injury, of course, I don't want my teammates injured at all, but just having somebody there that you can relate to really helps you a lot mentally. You know what I'm saying? So you get to put in extra work with them on the side. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get to do things like that to where, all right, we can't be on the court right now, but we can both mentally help each other, and physically, like, we can go lift weights together. We can't move, but we can do that. So it of course it helps if you have somebody there with you.
And then just a few more questions, because I do want to touch on Barry Brown as well.
Mm-hmm.
What was his mindset like for that team, and pushing you guys to the greatness that you guys achieved?
Barry, that's my brother, man. We like I said, we all came in as freshmen. Me and Barry were roommates all 4 years. First year it was just us. Second year we added another person. What do we have second year? Isaiah. We added Isaiah to our apartment second year, and then Austin Trice and Matt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We had Maldo too, and then Maldo left, and then we put Austin in there. But Barry, man, Barry was one of those guys that always had a voice, right? He always held me accountable, especially me. In times where I was going through my injury, it was times where I'd be in practice, I'd just be pissed off for no reason, right? Because I knew what my mind was telling me to do, but physically I just couldn't do it. So I would be pissed off. I would be going off sometime. Sometime I just wouldn't be listening. I would be over it, bro. Like, because of the injury. And I ain't gonna lie, we used to get into it. Like, me and Barry, we used to get into it sometime because of that. But we would talk, and he would just be trying to keep my mind in the right space.
Yeah.
Right. So, like, bro, you injured, but at the same time, we need your leadership, right? You can't let nobody else show you mad at the coaches or whatever because you're injured.
And you probably were thinking from your point of view, you probably like, bro, you just don't understand. Like I'm hurting.
Yeah, in my mind, I'm just like, bro, I don't understand. Like, of course he didn't understand, but at the same time, he was looking out for his brother.
Right.
Right? If he was hurt, I would do the same thing. Like, bro, you still one of the leaders on our team. So you can't be acting like this. You gotta set an example for the younger guys. And I appreciate him for that. You know, how hard he worked. You know what I'm saying? How hard he pushed us to work. And like I said, it was accountability. I remember me, him, and Dean, we sat down and we set a goal for our whole team. We did that. We did that as freshmen. We mapped out every year and what we wanted to accomplish every year. It took us till senior year to win a Big 12 championship, but we was able to cross that off our list. Right? We was able to cross that off our list. National championship was cut short. Didn't help that we went through injury that year at all, but we had a chance. You know what I'm saying? So, man, I love that guy for that forever. Like that's my brother, and you really couldn't ask for a better teammate and a better brother.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he seemed like a cool dude. I had him in a public speaking class one time. He just seemed like a super chill dude. But yeah, you could tell on the court that he was like a kind of guy that hold his teammates accountable, and like you, a real leader on the court. But you alluded to some key things, man, for success in anything you do. Goal setting, right? You talked about how you, Dean, and Barry came together your freshman year and was like, okay, we're trying to do this, that, and the other. And even if you all fell short, you got damn close, right? Accountability, you holding your teammates accountable, your teammates holding you accountable. That's just huge, man. So I that was just kind of like a sidebar for me, just commenting on what you said, and appreciate you for sharing that. Okay.
I think it sets us up too to ask, I think the final college career question as far as that goes. What was more impactful on your emotions during your college career? Getting to that Elite Eight and falling just short, but you still accomplished being able to raise another banner in Bramlage, saying you guys get to the Elite Eight for the first time in years, and then or winning a Big 12 championship. Which one affected your emotions more, and how and take us through your emotions for each of them?
I would probably say winning a Big 12 championship. Of course, because we won. Like when you win, what can you say, right? The loss in the Elite Eight, it hurt because, when we knew we were the better team. It's a lot of things that go into basketball games, man. Like winning or losing basketball games, right? It's tactics, it's matchups, it's things like that. But you can't make an excuse for a loss. A loss is a loss, right? And we didn't win. But we knew we had another year to do something special. So, like I said, I think that being our last year too made that Big 12 championship way more special than anything else that we went through in college.
Wow. Yeah, I love that, man. And heck yeah, bro. Winning anything just makes it that much sweeter,
Especially the best, as you said earlier, the best college basketball conference in the nation. It's been that way for I think the last 10 years. And you guys had to battle every night in that league. So
every night.
Hey. All right. So yeah, we're gonna transition to you playing in your professional career overseas. Can you talk about can you explain, how you went about getting your first contract? Did you have to seek out any teams, or did they seek you out? Like how does that work?
So as far as your professional career goes, a lot depends on agencies, right? Who your agent is. And sometimes you have a good agent, sometimes you don't necessarily have the agent that has a lot of connections. It's all about connections. Being an overseas basketball player, it's all about connections. All about who your agent knows and where he can get you. My first year out of college was pretty rough. I was with the agent that really didn't have a lot of overseas connections, and it ended up putting pressure on me. And shout out to my dad, my A1, because he really locked in and helped me get my first contract through his connections, right? Wow. And we did that. I was in Poland. Wasn't necessarily with the best team, but Poland was a really good league back then. I did what I had to do number-wise to put myself in a better position. And I mean, that's one of the things I always pride myself on. But if you get me there, I can do what I need to do. Like, just get me there. Like, that's it. That's it. That's how I've always been. That's how my dad raised me. All I need to do is get there. I can handle everything from there. But halfway through that year in Poland, I ended up going to a team in Germany, Science City, Jena. It's in Jena, Germany. Then, of course, COVID hit. COVID hit literally like 3 weeks after I got there. Wow. So that was short. So I really don't even count that as a season. I don't really count that as a year one because it's like I barely played any game.
Did that well, first I want to ask, what was the reason you went from that Polish league to the German league? What happened in that that period?
They went through a lot of changes throughout with our team, with new coach and new players and all that, and I just felt like it was best if I went elsewhere. And the team in Germany, it was a better league, so that's why I decided to go.
Makes sense. Were you feeling yourself in Poland though? I know you guys didn't win many games, but you averaged nearly 17 points per game, and it seemed like you were leading that team.
Oh yeah, I was definitely feeling myself in Poland for sure. I mean, like people don't understand it's a different dynamic from playing in college than playing professional, right? It's playing style, it's coaching style, it's systems, right? So the same way that I played in Poland, averaged 17 and then like that, I could have averaged that in the Big 12 if I wanted to. Like that, my game never changed, right? It was just, this is my system. I have other guys around me that can score the hell out of the ball and, dribble the ball, bring the ball up too. So it's like, okay, this is what we're going to do. The ball don't have to be in your hand the whole time. But overseas, you get 1 or 2 Americans on the team, right? And they expect y'all to go out there and get those numbers, right? So, and that's my debate all the time. And I look back at college and I'm like, dang, like if I wanted to, I really could have got 20 a game. Like there was games where I did that, and it was never a problem. But given the system that we played in and the people that we had on our team, I didn't necessarily need to, or they didn't want to do that, to go that way. I mean, we had Barry, we had Dean, right? So we had X, right? If every one of us get 12 to 15 points, then what you gonna say? Like you can't stop that, right?
At all.
But overseas, if your Americans ain't getting 15, 17, 15, 20, it's gonna be a long night.
Wow. And you were proving it. You were proving it right away at K-State. Scored 24 points against, what was it, North Carolina? As a freshman. I mean, I think that speaks for itself. And
I still can't find that game.
The highlights of that game, you can't find it.
It is gone. It is gone.
Wow. So, and you kind of talked about it a little bit, the difference between, college and playing pro. preparation wise, what would you say is the biggest difference between how you prepare for a college game and how you prepare for a pro game?
Honestly, I feel like it honestly depends on where you go, where you are in your career overseas, because it's different levels, like I said. So you might go to a level where, take my first year, our preparation for games at K-State was better than that. And that's just off of the place and the resources that a lot of teams overseas don't have.
Wow.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
You go to a Power 5 school, you got everything you need right there. Right? Mm-hmm. Like K-State, we had training table. You go eat, right, before games or whatever. You got a whole training staff to take care of your body, right? You got a gym you can get into at any time of the day, right? And it's just things like that where I feel like the preparation is different. Of course, overseas you're pretty much on your own, right? Your pregame meal, unless you're on a road game, is on your own, right?
Wow.
That's on your own. Sometimes you don't have a gym where you can go in and stay in there as long as you want, go in there as many times as you want. Right. So that's also different. So then you got to really balance your time and understand your schedule of when you can get in the gym, when can I get up extra shots, what time can I get to the gym early enough to where I can still get my work in, but there's nobody else on the court.
Wow.
So it's just things like that where you have to balance. Like I said, it depends on levels. There's different levels to it, and it depends on the place. Some places have their own gym, some don't. But as a professional athlete, you got to find that balance and really lock in on your schedule because it's important for your game preparation.
Let's touch on. I think you brought up the COVID year. I want to touch on that a little bit. And how did that season happen in Germany? I mean, was it 3 games in Germany, and then the season ended? And how did that affect you mentally? And did you have to lean on like some of your American teammates and stuff over there, or did you come back to the States? And how did that all work?
I don't remember how many games exactly that I played when I want to say 4 to 5.
Okay.
I want to say 4 to 5. And when COVID hit, it was kind of like quiet because I guess it really hadn't reached the limits of like overseas basketball yet. Mm-hmm. So with our league, it was, we still going to play. We're still going to have the league until what they call Euro League. That's like top league in Europe. So we're still gonna have y'all league. The only way we're gonna cancel with the league is if your league stop playing. So your league stopped playing when NBA stopped playing. Wow. Right. So once they cut NBA season, cut Euro League, and then they cut us. So I think we was only there for a week, and then before they shut down airports and stuff, they sent us home, so we wouldn't be stuck.
Nice. I mean, I'm sure that helped. Be able.
It helped a lot.
Yeah,
it helped a lot. So it was just because being stuck there during COVID would have been crazy.
Yeah. Absolutely. Did you go back to? I probably saw you back at K-State during when did you ever, or did you? I guess you also had to quarantine. I'm forgetting that those are times when we all kind of had to stay away from each other as well.
Yeah, I went back to Baltimore. Okay. And yeah. And stayed in a house, in our old house.
Yeah.
By myself because my mother wouldn't let me come
home. Okay. Speaking of Be More, man, since I've known you, you've always expressed great confidence, right? You just seem like a pretty confident guy, very sure of yourself, like whatever. Like you said, something that your dad instilled in you, you just got to get there and then you'll get it done. Is your hometown, Baltimore, was that where you really, did that place help develop your confidence, and in what way?
Yeah, 100%. Like Baltimore, it's like, if you're not confident in yourself, you're gonna have a rough childhood pretty much, because just think about it. Like you're an athlete, you're a young kid, and it's in the city, so it's 1,000 young kids. If you ain't got the confidence to step up or stick up for yourself, then everybody just gonna mess with you.
Mm.
And then for me, being an athlete, my dad always had me in sports. My dad would take me to the court with a bunch of teenagers, and I'm 8 years old. Right, I'm 8 years old. I know I can hoop. I mean, I know they look like they can play, but they really can't play. Right? So my dad used to just go on the court like, yo, he got next. And they'd be like, nah, sure he can't hoop. And I had to speak up for myself, like, nah, I got next. Like, I don't care if I'm 8, but if I call next, I call next.
Wow. Yeah.
Like, if y'all want to argue about it, we can argue about it. I'm 8 years old, but we can argue about it. So it don't matter. But I'm gonna get on this court.
You're standing on business,
But I'm gonna get on this court though. Like I'm gonna get on this court, and once I get on the court, that's it. And now y'all don't want me off the court because y'all like, man, shorty nice. So it was one of those things where you had to have a voice, like you had to speak up for yourself, coming out of Baltimore, being an athlete, and of course, there's a level of confidence, right?
Right.
If you can make it out there being one of the best in the city, then I mean, you pretty much make it out anywhere. Wow. So that's a confidence thing.
I'm just thinking about teenagers and grown men arguing with an 8-year-old, and then showing them up on the court, like.
Right, and then they want to pick next time you come to the court. They want you on 18. That's how it goes.
You earned that respect for sure. Staying there with because I brought that up because obviously you play professionally now. I know you said earlier that physical, is definitely more physical than college. But going back to that, going back to the mentality, because I'm sure mentally you got to be, like you say, you got to be locked in as well. And sticking with the confidence thing. What kind of self-talk do you utilize self-talk, and is it more so internal where you just using self-talk and not really expressing it verbally, or you more like a verbal, like if you make a mistake or if you're trying to get yourself hyped up, you verbally utilize that self-talk?
I give myself self-talk, but it's more internal, and a lot of it I probably started it last year when I went through the injury, right? Because it was more of a mental. When you go through injury, it's a mental game.
Yeah.
Like your body's gonna recover.
Yes.
But up here, it got to recover first. You know what I'm saying? And if you're not ready, if you're not good up here, then your body can't function.
Wow.
Right? So for me, all my self-talks was like, bro, you're gonna be good. Like you're gonna be good. You're gonna be good. You're gonna get through it. You done got through everything else. So this ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's 6 months? What's 7 months? 7 months ain't nothing.
Right, it's just time.
But if you're not mentally there, 7 months is a long time. 7 months is a really long time. And even on the court, like, all right, you make mistakes, but you get to that age and you get to a professional level where you're going to make mistakes. So you just got to move on and make the next play.
Right.
That's all the professional is about. Making the next play. Next play. Do better the next time. And then you cut your mistakes. So, all right, cool. I made 2 this game. Next game, I'm going to give myself 1 tops. So that's the self-talk, but it's not really out loud or nothing like that.
Yeah. And G, I'm gonna let you jump in just after this for a second. Okay, so you mentioned, especially dealing with imagery, dealing with injury, your mind has to be right. Did you ever speak with a sports psychology professional, or you knew just to hold that confidence, utilize that self-talk on your own, I'll let you answer that first.
I don't think I learned it on my own. Like I said, my dad had a lot of impact on the mental area of my life. Always wanted me to be positive. Whenever I go through an injury or something, he called me 3 times, 4 times in a day, like just checking on my mental. because, like I said, he know my injury gonna heal.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the problem. The problem is always mental, and he always always knows when there's something wrong with me. Like,
Wow.
no matter what. If I don't call for a day, if I don't call him in a day or two, he's like, yo, what's wrong? Like, you good? Like, everything straight? Because he knows. And I'm pretty sure that's just the father instinct,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The father instinct.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure that's how he knows when there's something wrong with me. But he always tell me keep my head up, stay positive. I'm gonna be all right. Like it ain't nothing I've been through that I couldn't handle. So.
Wow, I love that. Shout out to Pops, man. And you know, how often did you, like, when you were dealing with your imagery and you were anticipating yourself coming back, how often did you like visualize yourself doing what you were accustomed to doing on the court, like while you were still injured? Obviously, you didn't have the physical ability to do such, but in sports psychology, in my field, they say a good thing for injured athletes to do is to practice imagery, just visualizing themselves getting back to a level of play that they see themselves doing.
Yeah.
So how often did you do that, and did you find it helpful at all?
Every day.
Wow,
Every day.
that's
Every day. Like being injured, I can't move. You know what I'm saying? So even like I'll sit there and like some people make fun of me about it. I'll sit there, I'll watch my highlights on YouTube all day. I'll just watch it, right?
yeah.
Because I want to see myself moving like that. Like I still do it now because sometimes I feel like I'm not moving the same as I did last year or what have you. So I'll just sit there and watch. And then while I'm watching, I'll come back to practice tomorrow and I'll just start doing the moves that I was watching yesterday.
Wow.
Just to get my body accustomed to doing it again.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's all injury is. Your body, when you start getting back on that court, your body it's not that it can't do it. Your body just not used to doing it no more. Your body is not used to sprinting like that no more. So you got to go out there and you got to sprint. Your body ain't used to jumping like that. You just got to go out there and you just got to jump. So it's things like that to where I'll just watch it for hours. Like I will watch every highlight that is on YouTube. I don't care how old, I don't care how new it is. I'll just watch it. And that's where I'm like, oh, you can still do that, bro. Like that's nothing.
I love that.
A couple weeks ago, we were doing the same thing with your highlights. We sat down, Chris and I, we we were down right where he's sitting right now, kicking back and watching. It's countless highlights, and it's so many, you know, shot makes, dimes, and you're fun to watch. You're fun to watch, that's for sure. And I think it's the perfect time to jump in to that, you know, that 2020-21 season, championship season. I don't know how to pronounce it. Norrköping. Norrköping.
Yeah.
Dolphins in Sweden. You know, a championship run. A run where you scored 16 points, had 5 boards, 5 assists, and shot 37% from 3 in 14 playoff games, and a championship ring that included that a 4-0 sweep against definitely don't know how to pronounce that team, but the Kings.
Saw to tell you. Yeah, saw to tell you.
And you in game three of that, you led the team, blowout win, led the team with 21 points and 7 assists. Was that I mean, take us through that whole season and tell us, is that your most rewarding season?
I don't gonna lie. So like overseas, like you can tell if you have a championship team just by looking at the league. You can be like, all right, like there's no way we shouldn't make it there. Right. And with the team we had, I knew in the beginning, we was gonna make it to the championship. Right. Before even playing anybody, because I feel like I got an eye for talent. So I just know what each person can do, what each person is capable of, right? And going throughout that year, I feel like we just had a better all around team than everybody. The crazy thing is, you mentioned that sweep. Solitaire beat us by 30 the first 2 times we played them at home. I don't think it was because they were better. I think we just weren't accustomed to their style of play, right? And we had a great coach, Miko. He was a genius when it came to breaking down the team and what they can do and how we going to play against them, right? And as far as like what things worked and what didn't work. So going through that little playoff run, it was real. I wouldn't say it was easy, but we knew that we had it. We knew we had it. And then come championship round, we just went out there and played like we was just having fun. Like it was just all fun. It was no stress. It was like, bro, we want to sweep. Like we came into that round, like, bro, let's sweep them. Right. So like I said, they beat us by 30 twice. Beat us by 30 twice. Then we go to their crib. We beat them at their crib twice. Then it's like, all right, final matchup. Let's sweep them. Let's sweep. And then that was, like I said, that we swept them. And I think majority of those games was blowouts. So it really wasn't.
It was like one game where you won by 5 points. The rest were like double-digit wins.
Yeah, majority of those games were blowouts. So I felt like that round was pretty sweet compared to the rest of the season.
Was that your most rewarding season as a pro then? You got that ring?
Yeah, my first championship as a pro. Definitely most rewarding. Yeah, I would say so.
Before we go to that, next year where you get to another championship with a different league, what happened in you had such a great thing going with the Dolphins. Why didn't you play with them again that next season?
Like I said, it's different levels, right? Different levels of overseas basketball, and each year you want to try to move up, right? So I decided to go to Hungary, which was a high level league, and that just working my way up. I would have loved to go back. I love Sweden. I love Norrköping. The coaches there. The city was great. Well, they actually ended up winning another championship after me, and then another one last year, and about to win a fourth one this year. So they on the verge of doing something real special over there.
So let's talk about that season in Hungary. Another championship run against, I'm guessing, like you said, tougher competition. Working your way up through the overseas ranks. What was that season like?
That season was good too. We started the season missing a big man that we had, Wesley Gordon. He had like broke his hand or something like that, but we kept him. Thankfully, we kept him, and then when he was ready to play, man, he just gave us that spark that we needed on the inside, rim protector, and somebody we could pass the ball to, make good decisions, score around the rim, catch lobs or whatever. I felt like that was the final piece that we needed throughout our season. Like we had other great pieces around us, but when he came back, it was the turnaround. It was just like a switch. Like, we're gonna make it to the championship again. And I feel like that season was tough though because it was so long. Like it was just long. We didn't get home till like June 29th, which is
And when does
rare.
the season start?
We got there in August for preseason. Yeah, we got there for August and preseason. But we didn't get that back till June 29th. So I feel like that was the tough part of that season. You know what I'm saying? Like that's another thing about overseas basketball. You might not be in a great city either. So like your everyday life is not gonna be this fantastic, I get to explore. You know what I'm saying? You might just sit in the house, watch movies all day, play the game, read a book or something. You know what I'm saying? So that can make a season 10 times longer. Right. Wow. But when you get to playoff time, it's like, we can really win a championship right now. Right? Yeah. And we should have we should have won because we had them up a game, and all we needed to do was win one more game, and it was at home, and we ended up losing that game. And then this is like I hate saying it, but like playing Falco is a 7-on-5, 8-on-5 game. It's like playing KU at KU.
In Allen Field, yeah.
It's like playing that. Yeah, it's like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we knew once we went back there, if we wasn't up 10 with a minute, it was gonna be bad. Like it was just gonna be rough. And like I said, that game was real tough. Still give credit to their team because I mean they won the game. They did what they had to do. But it was tough, man. Like I wanted another championship, 2 championships in a row. That looked good on your resume. But I mean, still making it looks good, but winning it looked real good.
Thanks. Good old officials. I think K-State fans and players know that better than me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, what you got, Chris?
I mean, you mentioned K-State again, man. Why don't we spin the block and go back to your rehab process? Making a decision to go back to Manhattan, and you said earlier that you just wanted to be around basketball. So I wanted to ask you, what was it like being around the young guys, man? Marquise Noel, Keontae Johnson, and what was it about them that led them to? Because they also went to the Elite Eight. They also made an Elite Eight. Did you see any similarities between them and you, Barry Brown, and Dean Wade at all? Or?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the same way we had a big 3, they had a big 3. Yeah. Right. So when your main guys are playing good and everybody else falls in line we eventually ended up having a big 4 with X.
Yeah, right? Yeah, forget X.
So he eventually evolved into that. But when you got guys like that control the team and you have that leadership, you can accomplish a lot in a season. Right. And I saw that early on. And then especially them having Coach Tang, like he helped a lot. Like being around him, like of course you're not able to see that when you playing against him, right? Because he was at Baylor all 4 years I was in college. So we didn't see that side. I didn't see that side. He was always cool, but I never saw that side. But when I got there and he like just brought me in like I was already there, it was like, man, like he a real cool dude. Like you'll hear Keith say it all the time. Coach Tang, probably like the perfect dude. Like he's the closest thing to perfect and a dude that I know. And he's really like that. Like he really gives that off, how positive he is, how encouraging he is to his guys. He'll get on you and still, you know what I'm saying? Still clap and get you ready to go. Right? So real positive guy, man. And I appreciate him for allowing me to come back and be around those guys. It was great being back last year, man. Like being back, it actually make you miss college, bro. Like for real. it makes you miss college, man. Like seeing everybody, and it's something about like just a college feel. Like once you graduate college and hit the real world, no, it's not the same, bro. Like the feeling is not the same
at all.
You know what I'm saying? It's not the same at all. You got all these responsibilities now, and then you know what I'm saying, you don't have a bunch of people around you to where it's like, oh, it's a lot going on. It's a lot going on. So being back for me, it was, I get to go to all these K-State games. This is where I want to be, rather than just rehabbing and being bored all day. That was important to me. And it was still a lot of staff there that was there when I was in college, right? Once Coach Weber left, everybody didn't leave. The coaching staff did, but still got Bailey there.
Yeah.
Still got Luke and them there. Curtis was there still last year, Curtis Kelly. So, I mean, having those people that I could still relate to and talk about my experiences when I was in college was real good for me.
And I'm glad you brought up that it was a big three. It wasn't just Keith and Keontae. We can't forget about Desi Sills as well.
Can't forget. And then they had Big Four too. They evolved into a Big Four because they still had Naquan.
Oh yeah, I can't forget about Naquan. And I'm one of the biggest advocates and this year of what happened with him, because that was a travesty and a big mistake from the Kansas State president. It's as simple as that. But anyway, let's
Hey, it's all in God's plan, man.
I hear that. And he's balling out at Memphis now.
He's balling at Memphis now. So, it's in God's hand.
And I appreciate that mindset, Cam, because we try to, I try to keep that mindset too, as hard as it is. Try not to play that victim mentality as a K-State fan. And clearly, Quan's not playing that victim mentality, or else he wouldn't be playing like he is at Memphis. He's keeping his head to the grindstone. And Tang, Jerome is not keeping it. That's one of my favorite lines that he's brought up, and we brought it up in our last podcast from Coach Tang this year, was when he brought up Die Hard. And he brought up how if Bruce Willis, died in the first scene or was acting like a victim, like, why me? In the first scene, it wouldn't have been a movie. There would be no movie.
Right.
So, and he said, we want to be stars, not victims. And I just think we're on the same page. Let's talk about that relationship you had with Jerome Tang. First, let's go back. Let's take it back to when you were a college kid. Did you ever have any relationship with him? The few times you would see him at Baylor, I'm sure, the guy he is, he'd like to speak to as many kids as possible.
So we never really had a relationship with, you don't really have a lot of relationships with coaches that you play against in college, unless that coach is recruiting you or something.
Yeah.
Right. So other than that, like when we used to play against Baylor, once AB went there, then all right, we'll chop it up, we'll talk, right? But if you don't already have that relationship, it's more so just basketball because we competing at the end of the day. So to be honest, I don't want to talk to your coaching staff. And if I do, I might hit a shot and turn around and say something. Like it might be some trash talk, right?
I hear that.
But when you're around somebody and you really get to see the type of person they are, then it changes the whole dynamic of it. Like I said, I came in and Coach Tang embraced me with open arms, like he was my coach already, or like we had already knew each other, and it was never that, right? I had freedom to roam in and out of the coach's office and stuff like that, and it wasn't just Coach Tang; it was their whole coaching staff, right? But that's when the part of leaving a legacy with the school comes into play. Right. Because and you also have to be a respectable person, right? If we were bad people at K-State, right, always getting into it with people, we wouldn't be allowed to come back, right? Nobody would be happy for us to come back, but people want us back. So when Coach Tang and then like they still got pictures in their office of some of our stuff because we left a legacy. We left a legacy there, right? And one of the things Coach Tang said when he first got there, he was there to build. He wasn't there to rebuild. He just wanted to add on what was already there. And I gained a lot of respect from him for that because it was something that we cherished. We were in the rebuilding process. We came in as freshmen during the rebuilding process where everybody left and we came in 7, 8 freshmen deep, right? And so we rebuilt our program, right? From not making it to the tournament to first 4 in to Elite 8 run and then Big 12 championship. So we wanted that to continue, right? Of course, we know in between that, it was a 2 rough couple years, right, after us. But now it's new people coming in, right? And Coach Tang has done a great job with the culture. I love how he implements the students more now, with games. Like I guarantee you the whole student section feels way more involved than just fans at this point. Right. And that's just that's the type of guy he was. Right. Coach Weber was a great guy, but Coach Weber just wasn't that type of energy guy. Right. He brought a different level of, I would call it, more old school way. Right. Which is nothing wrong with it, because as a player, I love him. Right. But Coach Tang is more community based, I would say, which I love. So,
and I think K-State's embraced it too, and has loved it. Even right now they're not, I don't think, at the level they want to be like they were last year. First year, they get, I think, third in the Big 12 or fourth in the Big 12, and then they get an Elite Eight run. I think they'd be doing a lot better this year had the things shaken out the way they probably should have shaken out. But also, I think Tang has kept that great mindset even through these losses, and then these past 2 wins that they have, back-to-back wins at home, which are huge. He still believes that, and the team still believes that they can get back to that NCAA tournament.
Yeah, they can. I mean, what? They got 2 more games. You got to win 2 games, right? You got to win 2 games and play well in the Big 12 tournament, and then you get your seed, right? And I mean, what can you say about a coach that's 12-0 in overtime games? Like, it says a lot about the coach, and that says a lot about the team. Like, y'all resilient, bro. Y'all show a level of toughness that we pride ourselves on as K-Staters, right? That level of toughness that we had, because we won multiple overtime games, double overtime games, right? And it's crazy because I feel like K-State always gone to overtime with West Virginia. I know we did it almost every year.
Yeah.
But you win those games. That is a school that's known for their toughness. Mm-hmm. And the fact that you can fight through that says a lot about what's been instilled in you at K-State.
And then the last thing I want to touch on before we, I think get on to, maybe wrapping up about what's next for Kam Stokes. But last year, did you ever see Dean come back, Barry come back, X come back?
Yeah, I saw Dean. Saw Dean. Barry was in the season, so I didn't get to see Barry. I know they were back. I think they went back in late July, but I think I was busy around that time, so I didn't make it back. And so yeah, I saw Dean. But I didn't see Barry. But we're gonna try to get out there all together this summer. So
that's what's up.
Hopefully it works out. I think our schedules line up pretty well this year.
I love that, man. Let me see. And you said that you all carried yourself with class, which is the reason why you all are welcomed back with open arms. And as somebody who was watching from afar while I was on campus at the same time, you were, you were interacting with everybody, people who weren't athletes. I saw you, talking to multiple people as if you've known them for a long time, when you probably just, met them that day or met them that year, whatever the case may be. Like, how, speak to that. Like, why were you so just like chill and cool with everybody? Because honestly, we don't see a lot of, athletes, and in all fairness to them, they're just super locked in on what they're doing. But I didn't see many athletes at K-State really have those types of relationships with people as like you did. So
I think one, I feel like I was on campus more than most because of my major. So I felt like I kind of had to interact with everybody.
Yeah.
Number 2,
what was that major?
Kinesiology.
Yeah.
Yeah. Number 2, I used to tell people this all the time. Like, for one, like, I didn't hate it, but like when I'm out and I'm with friends or something, like I'm eating or we having a drink or whatever, like I'm the same, bro. I'm the same person as you. I'm just here. I'm here to have a good time, bro. I just so happen to hoop, right? I just so happen to hoop, right? So I'm the same as everybody else. I'm trying to get my education, and basketball is just another side of it. And then for me, most importantly, I feel like as a K-State fan, you come and support me during my games.
Mm.
So who am I to be stuck up or not have a conversation with you as a regular person? Like, why not? Like, you support me, so cool. I'm cool with you. I had plenty of friends that weren't athletes or what have you, because I don't see that, right? Like, I don't see myself as, oh, this famous person, and I can't talk to people. Like, nah, not at all.
Love it.
Because,
Makes sense to
because
me. I think he's got I'm guessing a phone call coming in.
okay,
Chris,
but yeah,
you still here with us?
bro, that was it, man.
Yeah, man.
I used to like chat. I used to like chatting with people. Like, it's cool for me to like. For me, it's cool that I can go on Twitter and see somebody give a case that experience, and like I was laughing at it because the kid was like, "Yeah, I had class with Kamau Stokes," and he was real cool. Like, we was just talking, right? But that's what it's about. Like, bro, I'm gonna have a regular conversation with you. I'm not some stuck up athlete who just think I'm better than anybody else. Like, nah, like, that's not it. I don't think that's how people should be. Like, you treat others how you want to be treated. Y'all give me respect by coming to my games, cheering for me. I'm gonna give y'all the same respect.
And I mean, I feel like
that's dope, man.
I feel like a lot of, not every, but a lot of K-State athletes were that way too. I just feel like that community.
Yeah, we were all like that. I can't think of one teammate that I had all 4 years that wasn't open to having conversation with anybody, right? We used to just walk on campus sometimes just because, and have nothing to do. Go hang out in the union, have conversation with people.
Down to earth.
Yeah, very down to earth. We had a very down to earth group. Like, it wasn't no, we're better than y'all. None of that.
It's like Chris is frozen again.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Because we can keep it going. I mean, let's talk about this upcoming season. I mean, what's the importance of getting back to I mean, what's the goal right now? I mean, obviously it's probably getting back to a championship. And tell me, did you still working your way up? Is this Lithuania league a step higher than that Hungary league, or how does that work?
Yes, yeah, still working my way up. This year that's why, like, it was kind of frustrating because, like I said, last year I was in Czech Republic League, and then I was in a league called Champions League. So it goes Champions League, FIBA Euro Cup, Champions League, and then Euro League, right? So I was in Champions League. So I'm like, man, I killed Champions League. I could be in Euro League next year, right?
Yeah.
I could be in Euro League next year. Then they get the injury, so I got to step down, right? I got to step down. Lithuania League is very high, so it's really not a step down. It's just I'm not in that extra league to where I want to be. So I mean, now for this year, I'm on a team who was in second division last year. They moved up to first. We are in sixth place currently, so we make playoffs. Which for a second division team, as long as you make playoffs, you're good. Like, you want to make playoffs. For my career, taking a second division team to playoffs is major, right? Because that means I had a huge impact on what that team did, right? And I came here halfway through the season. Since I've been here, we've had a winning. Yeah, since I've been here, we've had a winning record.
Mm-hmm.
So making playoffs looks very good on my resume, right? As far as championships go, of course, I'm that competitor. I always think I can make it to the championship, right? Tough league. We got a tough game Saturday versus, I think, the number 2 team in the league, right? So that'll be a good test for us to see what we up against in order to push ourselves to the level we need to be to make it to that championship round, which most likely will be this team called Zalgiris, right? And they actually got some Big 12 faces on that team with Keenan Evans and Brady Manick. So they're that top team, but they're also in EuroLeague. They're a EuroLeague team. I played against them. I played pretty well against them. So that also looks good too. It's all about who you play against, how well you play, and can your team get to playoffs and how you perform there.
So is that we got Chris back, which is great. But take me through also. So you mentioned it, and just so Chris can get an idea of what we just spoke about. Are you headed to the playoffs now? You said you've made the playoffs, and as far as we know, you've taken a little break. Is that because the playoffs are about to happen on Saturday, or do you got a few more games for that?
No, we got some more games. I think we got 8 more games to playoffs or something like that.
Yeah.
And we just coming off. So overseas they have national teams.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So we just coming off a national team break. So kind of have like 3 weeks until your next game. Right. So right now we're in the 6th place. If we stay in 6th place, we make playoffs. You stay in 7th, you make playoffs. Right. I think it's 8 teams. Yeah. 8th place. So you can't drop to that 9th spot. But we're in 6th right now, so we looking good. Right. We can work our way up to 5th. I think 5th or 4th. We can work our way up. But generally, right now we're pretty sound as far as playoffs go.
You said how many teams in this league make it to the playoffs?
8 make playoffs. Yeah.
And yeah, you're in addition mid-season.
Yeah.
You might have mentioned it while I was trying to make sure we got Chris back on. When you came in, and I'm sure you got on the court right away. Did you guys win all those games, or what was the record since you came in?
I think since I came in, we've only lost 2 out of. Since I came in, I think we lost 2 out of 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you building that resume up.
Yeah.
What is life like after this season, do you think?
After this season, I don't know, man. It's pretty much up in the air. Like while I'm in season, I try not to think about it until like June. Just because I'm in, hey, I want to make it to the championship mode. But for me, ideally, of course, I want to be either in Champions League. You could be in Champions League, FIBA Euro Cup, or EuroLeague, right? But for me, as an overseas athlete, you also got to look at your time frame, right? Me being 28 years old, hey man, I'm trying to make as much money as I can, right? So where do I go to make that money, right? Along with it being a good team and a good league. So it's just finding that balance and finding out good situations to be in.
Yeah, man. I know whatever you end up doing next, you're going to be great at it. Wherever life takes you. And I want to leave you with this question right here. What life lessons have you learned from playing the sport of basketball?
Toughness. Level of toughness. And
is that mentally and physically?
That is mentally and physically, right? Because let's just say mentally you always got to be tough because you don't never know what life is going to throw at you, right? On the physical part, you might not feel physically up to it to get up and go to work, but you got to get up because you got to go get that money,
right.
Excuses, which is one of our fave. We know that, right? Excuses, right? Basketball taught me that because, like I said, especially as a point guard, you make a mistake, you got to focus on the next play, not why or give an excuse to why you messed up. right? You just gotta move on, right? So we don't do that. There's no point. Having good character, having good character. I mean that goes a long way in basketball, because especially for signing purposes, they'll sign a guy with good character before they sign a guy that might be a better basketball player but has bad character, right? So always having good character. I would say, try to give you one more thing. And being resilient for sure. Like I said, like fighting through injuries, but you gotta be resilient. But that's through everyday life. You know what I'm saying? There's plenty of people out here that lose their jobs, right? You gotta be resilient. You gotta keep going. You gotta find another job, right? Can't never stop. And I mean, another thing, bro. Just the last thing, just trusting in God, bro. Like for real, because He gonna put you in situations, and you don't have no clue why you in that situation. But it's all a part of that plan, bro. It's all a part of that plan. He gonna put you through injury. It's part of His plan, right? So never, bro. Keep your head down. Focus on what you gotta do, and be resilient, man. Just fight through anything that you go through.
I think it's pretty cool. Your job is to be able to dribble a basketball, shoot a basketball, and go win championships, man.
Yeah. Tough job, man. Tough job. You can still get fired for it too.
No doubt. I mean, I know we got to sign off here soon, but you just made me think. Like, I mean, we know how cutthroat like the NBA and
it's political. Everything is political. Overseas, political. Like you dealing with your agent is dealing with another agent that's connected with the basketball team sometimes. Like it's a lot, man. So everything is political. So that's why I say, bro, you just got to keep your head down. If you're an athlete watching this, like keep your head down, focus on what you can control. Like don't focus on no outside factors, focus on the things that you can control, and then you be all right.
Love it, man.
Focusing on the controllables, man. I love it. I love that you mentioned that because that's key.
For sure.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is Kamau Stokes, the definition of resilient, man. He's been able to persevere and show resilience to what he goes through on the court. And he said that's one of his biggest life lessons is resiliency. So, man, thank you again. We can't thank you enough for taking time again out of your busy schedule just to talk to us a little bit, reflect on the K-State days, and talk about what you have currently in your career. And again, man, I know whatever is next for you, you're gonna go off and do some amazing things, and we'll stay in touch, my brother.
Appreciate y'all for having me.
Appreciate you.
Definitely. Signing off, Mental Fitness Hub. Peace.
I got willpower, it explains the attitude.